With me today is Stori Johnson from Anything Insurance, and we've been chatting about the importance of having insurance as a first-time home buyer. And maybe you're just used to, oh gosh, I've got car insurance and that's all I need. Maybe I've got renter's insurance, maybe you don't. And so if we're starting from zero, I would love to, for Stori to introduce yourself and tell us about insurance and why it's important. So Stori, take it away.
Yeah, of course. So I'll start a little bit about me. So my name is Stori. I do own a home. I'm 28 years old. Been selling insurance for about a year now.
You're 28 and you own a home.
Yeah.
You rock.
And oh boy, I'll tell you, I didn't know a darn thing starting out. So I'm going to start with my story on that first.
Yes.
So I always had car insurance. I bought a house to keep my horses at because I ended up buying another horse. So I needed to buy a house because boarding is $900. So I couldn't afford that for two. So I went in and I kind of rushed to find a house because I had the horse coming in and I needed something. And when I bought the house, there was maybe 2 sentences about insurance that I heard. You have to have it, right? I didn't even know who my provider was, to be honest with you. I didn't know who my provider was until I started doing insurance, actually, which is pretty silly because you would think you want to know who your car insurance carrier is because there's always different rates and there's always different coverage. And how do you know what coverage I need if you don't speak to me as an agent? You don't. You don't know what assets I have that I need to keep covered. You don't know what things I'm bringing in the house or all that kind of stuff. So it really shook me when I saw what coverage I had, because when you buy a home, it's usually just tacked on. They just tack it on. You don't hear anything about it. You don't even know your policy number, to be honest with you.
True.
Unless you're going through every little line of the paperwork, which it's so many things to sign. Nobody's reading it all. Let's be honest. So finally figured out what that was definitely undercovered. I don't have that many assets, but I do have some. And obviously owning a home and horses and stuff like that, you want to make sure you're covered. And there's certain things that they don't cover. Like some of them won't cover a tractor, for instance. It has to be like a lawnmower and stuff like that. And so you just want to make sure that when you're having a conversation with your rep, well, first off, have a conversation about your insurance with somebody. Don't just let them say, hey, this is what it's going to be, blase, 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 right? So yeah, contact an agent. I would go through a broker just because I feel like when you go through a direct source for that company, they necessarily don't go through the whole process every time. And I think it's really, really important to go through the whole process. And usually with an agent that goes through all of these, they're going to tell you what the best thing for you is and the best option. And they have all the rates sitting in front of them, so they don't just have to pick one. Always think about yourself. If somebody were to sue me, what could they take from me? Because that is a huge thing, especially being a homeowner. I mean, for instance, you're liable if you have a pool in your backyard. Most insurances won't even cover you if you have a pool in your backyard without a fully fenced, because somebody could climb over there and it's still your trouble. Like you're in trouble. Even a trampoline, for instance. So that stuff's really important. If you have savings, if you have all that, Washington, they can take anything from you, including your income for the next few years. Yeah. So it's a big deal. So like what I would say with that is just make sure that when you're thinking about your liability limits, you're like, hey, 100,000. Well, sit on that for a second, because what is 100,000 in today's day and age?
Not much.
Not enough. You could hit a street light right now and it's 80 grand to replace. So, I mean, yeah, I would think about that when it comes to your liability. Somebody were to get hurt on your property, that kind of stuff. And that happens all the time. It's really unfortunate. Also, dwelling coverage. When you think about dwelling coverage, it just covers your home, the stick-built home, right?
Yeah, your roof, walls.
Your roof, the walls, just to rebuild the structure itself. So not your refrigerator, all your personal property inside. And
the quality inside too, right? Because you might have chosen a really nice carpet, and insurance may not replace that.
And
nice
there's
carpet.
No way they're going to know what's in your house if you don't talk to them about it. Like they're just guessing on here on little radar that we go through, we guess. So
yeah, I mean, what if you have band practice and everyone had left their instruments there and now we have to replace instruments? Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
It's a big deal, that kind of stuff. So when you look at that, think, hey, it's always going to be lower than what your house, the whole property and everything is going to cost. But you want to sit there and be like, if end all be all happens, I have a total fire, is this going to rebuild my home to the standard that I had it before?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it even going to get to fully rebuilt for the price that it's at?
Oh my gosh.
So also, if you own a home now, check your insurance out, because I had a fire, not me, but a customer of mine had a fire, and they did not review their dwelling coverage and stuff, and the way that the cost of wood has gone up and all that stuff. It covered maybe 50% of what it was going to cost to rebuild their home. So now they're stuck paying the other 50% to rebuild their home. And that sucks. Nobody wants to do that, you know?
Nobody.
So,
yeah. How did you end up in the insurance industry?
Well, like I said, I got 2 horses.
It's the horse's fault.
Yeah, it's the horse's fault. I needed something that was consistent enough money. I've always been doing sales, some kind of sales my entire life. So I needed something that was consistent, and I didn't want to sell things like cars and have to bulldog people into stuff. I wanted to help when I sell stuff. And I just like the aspect of insurance, and I like kind of learning about it, because you don't know until you really have an agent talk to you about it and tell you, this is what you need, this is what you can get. Based off what you told me, this is what I would recommend, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of agents don't spend the time to do that with you. I will tell you how it is, even if it hurts a little. But it's better for you in the end. So
it is.
And but you want to find a
broker too. So you are not repping one company, but you have access to lots and lots of companies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which makes life easier for me too, because I can go, say you've been with me for 2 years and your rates will go up. I mean, that's just how insurance works. So you always check your insurance out. I'm not going to hate on you for switching. I think you should switch to what works best for you and your family.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it makes options a lot easier having a bunch of different companies to go to versus having just the one where I have to, this is what it is, you know, Bob, I'm sorry. Like, you know, your wife just died, like, you're going to pay $1,000 more. And with insurance, that goes up on your mortgage. So your mortgage ends up being more. Mm-hmm. It's just a domino effect. So
yeah, it sure can be. Oh my goodness. So I want to speak to the first time home buyer here for a second and explain, we want you to have insurance. Mm-hmm. Your loan is going to require you to have insurance. Yes. And Stori, since you're on that side of things, how soon do you want people asking about insuring this home versus that home? Do we want to wait until the offer is accepted, or do you want to start hearing from people as soon as they are pre-approved?
I mean, here's my thing. So much can go like flip-floppy right before you actually, you know, get accepted. So make sure it's like a real deal. If you know you're going to get accepted, you're pretty much in there. You can always call and check. It doesn't hurt to check. So call as soon as you know for sure that that's something you want to go through with. I wouldn't call every single house you look at unless you're serious about it, because it's not likely you're going to get into every house.
Oh, no. We're only getting one house.
Yeah, exactly. So
we're not buying 4 houses.
Within that month, when you maybe even go and your offer gets accepted, or maybe even a week before when you know you've sent in your offer and stuff like that, and that's all in the works, I would call. I would check it out, because you don't want to buy a house that can't get insured, and some of them can't. And then you're stuck paying actual cash value versus replacement cost. And you don't want to do that. I mean, look at how much stuff has gone up. It's like, you say it's $100,000 now that they're giving you in actual cash value. Next year, it could be $300,000.
Could be.
They're only going to give you that $100,000.
Yeah.
Always want replacement cost. Always get replacement cost. Main thing. Yeah, that's important.
I'm kind of kicking myself right now because my house has gone up in value, and I'm not sure we've told anybody that. So
yeah, so check that out. That's important.
Insurance company.
Yeah, you can always up your dwelling. I think I'm not sure by what percentage, but there's like 120 percent more that you can do on it. There's a bunch of add-ons that you can do, but you can always make your dwelling amount more if you're feeling like it's too low, which is nice. Another thing I would do is before you call your insurance about a claim, I would make sure, this is just a personal thing, don't come from my head insurance agents, make sure it's worth it, because that will, they look at that and they're like, this guy's been in jail for 50 years. Why would we give him a job? You know, that's how insurance looks at claims.
So that's things like a portion of my fence blew down in the wind.
Mm-hmm. Can
I fix an insurance claim, or is this a conversation with the neighbor?
Yeah, because an insurance claim can up your rates significantly. And it's gonna, no matter what, it's gonna go up unless you have that claim protection. But they usually don't do it for homeowners. They usually only do it for auto. So is it worth it? Also, for me personally, my deductible it's either $2,500 or $5,000, because I know for a fact if it's not more than that, or if it's more than that, then yeah, it's worth it for me to make a claim. If it's less than that, something to figure out myself.
Yeah.
And also it makes your rates lower. So, but also the thing is too, to think about that.
Yeah.
This is just some insight of what I've been seeing. So if you have a water claim, any kind of water claim, any kind of water damage, and your insurance company drops you because you made that claim, you're going to have a heck of a time going and finding another insurance company that's going to take you because you have that water claim, which is sucky, but it's what I'm seeing. So not fair if you ask me, but whatever. Just is what it is, you know?
Oh my gosh, that's just so infuriating, because like
it is. It's really.
What am I supposed to do? Go back in time?
Yeah, it's so silly, because the thing is, if you call in about a claim too, they have to put it on the record, even if they don't pay anything on it.
Oh, okay. No one's ever said that before.
Trying to help the people out, okay? Because that's the scariest part. Is like I had a customer call in, and they were like, they didn't even pay out anything, but you called, and they automatically legally have to mark it in as, hey, this is what happened, even if they don't pay anything on it. Big messed up.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Big messed up.
Okay. All right. So that led me to, holy cow, I really do need to make sure that first-time homebuyers are getting a home warranty that covers their first year, because I'd hate for them to call over some simple accident in their first year and then have, you're going to lose your insurance.
Yeah, and you're going to have it. I mean, the first year I bought my home, my pipes burst, but it was not something that was going to be covered by my insurance, and I already known that because I had already started the insurance stuff. So yeah, they won't cover certain kind of pipes that burst, and that would have been water damage anyway, so I wouldn't have want to put that on there if I didn't have to. But yeah, just be careful with your claims. Make sure they're worth it. I'll never tell you not to make a claim, but
you might help us think it through.
Yeah, think it through. Take the time. Be like, is this worth the money later on?
Yeah. The day after we moved in, one of my children was so excited, taking a bath in the new house, and they filled the water up to the overflow valve. You know, that big circle at the top of the tub. Yeah. It turns out his house is old, and the gaskets inside the wall were old. And so then I had water coming through the ceiling of the downstairs bathroom.
A lot or just a little?
A lot, because it was bathtub.
Oh, gosh. That's not good.
Right, but home inspectors don't check that. Why should they?
Yeah.
Right? And I've asked them, how come you don't check this? And like, oh my gosh, if you really asked us to check every single thing that's inside the wall, we'd be there forever. And then you would know way too much. And, you know, honestly, a bathtub valve, you shouldn't fill the bathtub that high anyway. And now my child knows not to do that. But because we had a home warranty, we didn't call the insurance company.
Nice. Home warranty. If you've got it, get it. Right, I should have had it. The thing with that too is your inspector, make sure they're a good inspector, because my inspector told me that my pipes were not the pipes that burst, and they were. So that was part of me buying the home, is I was like, because the last one I looked at had those pipes that are the old ones that everybody's like, don't get. Yeah. And that's why I was not going to buy this other home. And come to find out that this home had them, and he lied to me about it. And I was like, $466 for this man to lie to me twice. You pay that.
You come to me next time you buy a house. We'll hook you up.
I sure will. I'll tell you what. That was very irritating. But.
Right. Plus, you've met a few home inspectors now. So like, they're not all created equal.
Yeah, they're not all bad, but just like any job, there's going to be people who don't do it right and don't do it best for the customer. So
Yeah. All
gotta be
right.
careful.
So our first time home buyers, they've got their auto insurance, maybe they've got renter's insurance, and then how much shopping for insurance should we expect? 1 or 2 calls, or call a broker like you where you can shop for us?
I would call a broker because what's the point of calling 7 different places, you know?
Yeah.
Call a broker, get it done. At least if you're getting like, I would say at least 3 to 4 quotes, which you can get at one spot with a broker, you're probably okay. I mean, that gives you a rough range of what it's going to be looking like.
Yeah.
You know?
At least then you know this is the going rate and they're not trying to pull one over on you.
Yep. Have the conversation. Don't make it quick. The quicker you make it, the less information they're going to be able to grab out of you that you would want them to have. Like, you know, have the conversation, let them do their job. If they're good, decent at their job, they should be going through this is why I say this, you know, do that whole spiel because it's worth it in the end. You don't want to be underinsured. That sucks.
Now, I have
That's
some
worse
tools.
than having insurance or not having insurance because at least you know you don't have it, you know? You want them to cover something when you need it covered. So,
yeah. Now, I have some tools to identify flood zones, but you probably have better ones. And then you also have a way to identify fire danger.
So what I've been seeing is it just automatically kicks it out. So it'll pop up, this is fire zone, blah, 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 blah. And then that's where I'm finding that you can really only do dwelling coverage. So there is like a little loophole, but that's the actual cash value. So if you're going to do it like that, you need to be updating it every year.
Yeah.
And making sure that it's a reasonable amount for you and your family to know that your house is going to be rebuilt if something happens.
Yeah.
Because that's the end goal, to not lose your purchase, right?
So if I've got clients and we're shopping for homes out in the woods, they're clearly more rural. There's more trees than in our urban Puyallup, Tacoma areas.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, what about this zone? Maybe we should call you first?
Yeah, what about this zone? Have me work up a quote. That's fine. And then it'll tell me right away if, hey, we need to do this a different way, or hey, this is okay, but they're going to need extra coverage. So that kind of stuff. Sometimes there's like a give and a take. It's just they've been real sticklers since COVID.
Really. Yeah, well, we did have that big fire over on Bonnie Lake.
And then those people setting all those fires. So
yeah, like there shouldn't be fires here.
No, we're pretty wet lands for the most part.
Plus, we do have a lot of wetlands, and that's my first concern: is will the creek flood?
Yeah. And then you can get flood insurance as well. They require it if you're in a flood zone.
Yeah.
You can get earthquake insurance. A lot of them don't require it. It's kind of up to you if you want to have it. I mean, you got to kind of, how many earthquakes have you seen that have really impacted you, you know?
One.
So, one. Okay. It's up to you. You know, you figure out where you're comfortable being underinsured, you know? But, so just that kind of stuff is important to talk about. Your personal property. That is everything that would fall out of your house if you cut the roof off of it and shook it as hard as you could. Okay. I'm not sure if your personal property, I believe it does follow you in your cars too. Your personal property for your home. I know your renters does. It does. Katie's telling me, right? It does. Good job, Katie. Yeah, it's like but yeah, so that does follow you. So that's pretty awesome too.
Yeah.
Because when you have car insurance, it doesn't cover your personal property inside your car. Your home.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Or your renter's insurance. So it's important to have renters too.
So if I've got a vintage CD collection in the car, the car gets stolen, no one's replacing my CDs?
Unless you have renters or home insurance.
Okay. So another good reason to have it all.
Renters is super cheap too if you don't have a home that you own. It's like literally $14 a month.
Oh my gosh. So you should get that.
Yeah, get that if you don't have it. Definitely. I mean, people steal stuff out of cars all the time. So you know, worth it. Worth it. If you have special jewelry or wedding ring, stuff like that, tell an insurance agent, because I'll tell you what, if it's more than what your personal property is and somebody steals it or something like that, you got to have that in there that says going to cover this wedding ring for this much, because they won't do it if you don't have it in there.
So does that also work on collections of things?
Yeah,
So gun collections, jewelry collections, doll collections, Legos, whatever.
Yeah. Scheduled property is what it's called.
Scheduled property. That sounds.
Yeah, I haven't done much like crazy collections, but I know there is a spot for that. I just haven't dug into it. Yeah. Nobody I know owns a bunch of dolls or anything like that. So,
well,
it would be kind of weird.
Now.
Do you have dolls?
No.
Like, tell me about that.
No, but it's just, every time we talk about something, out here where all the things can listen to us, then we're like, well, I'm going to get that inquiry now, aren't I?
Yeah. Definitely.
I should talk about lake homes more often than like people who want lake homes should call me.
Yeah, lake homes are cool. I've insured a couple of them. They don't really have anything too crazy. I mean, just because it's not likely that there's going to be a huge wave that takes down your house or something like that. But
you do need
sometimes they have a dock and stuff like that too, which would be something to definitely talk about your insurance agent about. We do it all over here, so including boats, horses.
Insure that horse, man. They're not cheap.
No. $15,000 for a colic appointment. You can get covered for horse insurance for like a deductible of $500. So life or death situation.
Yeah.
I'd probably rather pay $500, but
right. But then when my dog has a little cough, I'm like, no, not worth $500. We'll figure it out. Don't tell anybody he's got a cough.
Suck it up.
Just stop, okay? Give you Benadryl. Should be enough.
You'll be okay.
Should be okay. Yeah. Well, this was fun. What else do you think most first-time home owners don't ask about?
I think that people are just so excited about buying a home, they don't ask about the insurance at all. They're just like, yeah, put it down. I'll pay for it. Like, whatever.
Check. That too.
Yeah, like check, But yeah, I mean, those are the main points, honestly. Anything I'm missing, your insurance agent should definitely go over with you. I know I will, because I read down the line and say, okay.
And it's when it's specific questions.
Yeah, because like there's like extended water coverage, like water backup, sewer backup. That's a good one to have, because that does happen, especially if you're buying an older home with a septic, and then it's gross.
Yes, or if you buy a newer home and you didn't get a sewer scope.
Don't you have to do that, though? Are you supposed to?
I suggest it, but it's not required. But that was one of the horror stories that one of the home inspectors told. It's like new construction, never been lived in, and they thought, I don't need a sewer scope because nothing's ever happened, right? I mean, literally no one has ever flushed the toilet. So. Yeah. But it turns out...
it works.
Right. So what had happened is while the street was still under construction, one of the big trucks had run over the area before the ground was compacted. And so every house was affected. You move in, you're there for a week, and all of a sudden you've got sewage coming back into the house because that line had gotten crushed months ago, and no one knew because no one did a sewer scope.
So much money to fix.
Yeah.
You don't have the coverage on your insurance?
Uh-huh. And you didn't pay $300 for a sewer scope.
Yeah. Even if they decline a claim too, guys, still on your stuff. Yeah, that would suck. I would be super upset about that. But yeah, just make sure your dwelling coverage is there, personal property is there, and that your deductibles are high. You set a $500 deductible, you were going to make a claim. I know it. Don't do it. No, $500, you sacrifice that for no claims if you got it.
So it's worth having a higher deductible, making you think long and hard about, am I calling?
That's what I do. Personally, it works for me. And that's what I would tell all my customers to do too, because it's really there for the crazy emergencies, because you use it. I mean, you can get to a point where you have 2 or 3 little claims on there and nobody will give you insurance.
Yeah.
And then you have some insurance that your mortgagee has to tack on, which is going to be triple the price of any regular insurance, which is worse.
We don't want to do that. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Yeah.
Do it right. Talk to them. It takes me to do a home quote 20 minutes to grab all your information. I'll have 7 quotes up that I can be like, hey, this is what it is. Here you go.
Yeah.
let's talk about it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Now, why'd you choose anything insurance? There's so many insurance places out there.
I actually found them on Indeed. So I just came in and then I really like Katie. She's fun. She's my coworker. She does our commercial side usually. Very knowledgeable. She's been in insurance for like 20 years, I think. Or maybe like 10 years. And 20 might be exaggerating. But she's been in for a long time. So she
We're not
knows
saying that
everything.
she's old.
Yeah. So any questions I have, I always ask her. And she's very knowledgeable. Been through it. Worked for Geico for like literally a long time.
Yeah.
I think probably like 7 years or something. But so I just like that. I like that. It's just kind of me and her in the office. It's not super crazy in here. We just kind of go to work, help people where we can. It's not very like, you have to make all these sales. So I like that.
It's
just like,
we're not getting a big call center.
I get the chance to really help people versus push stuff on people. So that's important to me.
I love that. Yay. Yeah. Is there anything we didn't cover?
I feel like we talk about a lot of stuff.
I know. Well,
I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, those are the big three that I had is, how soon do we call you? What do you cover? What should we expect?
Mm-hmm.
I think we nailed it.
Yeah. There's almost coverage for anything, really. Hence the name. So.
Hence the name. Anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything insurance. Awesome.
Also, if you run a business out of your home, you need commercial insurance. You cannot have regular homeowners insurance. Supposed to. Okay, this isn't like a smaller business though. Like, I think it has to be like if you have people coming into your home getting a service versus like a video call.
So if you're doing like a hair service in your home, you're doing photography in your home, the client's coming to your home.
But say you're a contractor and you have an office in your home and you have your equipment on your home, like an excavator at your house.
Yeah.
Commercial. You have to do it. Or here's the thing, if you get homeowners, they might not cover you for something if they find out you're running a business.
You need to talk about that more.
That's all I know about it. I just know I got told no the other day to try to do it for somebody. But that's really the gist of it. If you have your equipment for work at your home and like an office at your home, even just the equipment, check in with your insurance and you make sure that you're actually covered.
So it's worth calling you and making sure, hey, these tools live out my house.
Yeah.
Right? An excavator, a really nice camera, this commercial baking thing.
Camera's probably fine. And like maybe a photographer.
Right, but like when I was in photography, it'd be the camera, the lenses, the lighting, the backdrops. Like
all have to be insured, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have to have commercial insurance on your home to do that.
Well, if my garage is my studio, I probably do.
Yeah, that's different because you have then customers coming in. That's liability is the problem. So, just the things to think about. There's
a lot to think about. Fantastic! Yay! Well, thank you so much for chatting today. I think we got a lot out of 30 minutes.
All right. Well, I'm happy to help. Call me at anything insurance.
Absolutely will. Thank you, Stori.
Alrighty. Thank you.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.